Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Ascension Diaries YouTube channel. My name is Alexis. It is January 18th at 1:47 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I'm here again to report to you some space weather phenomena that has been going on. I've watched a few other YouTube videos of other people who covering this phenomena and gathered as much data as I could about what's going on, and it seems like a lot of us don't really know. So I'm going to show you what we don't know, and then you can have your own opinion about it. So first of all, as you can see here on the Schumann resonance chart, that there has been a heightened activity, heightened amplitude in the last 24 hours over the 17th of January. So around 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the 16th was when this big blast kind of began. You can see that there was behavior beforehand. It was like it was getting ready for it. And then it kind of swooped right in. This really beautiful wave of amplitude came in, and it stayed within the ranges of this chart. So we can actually report to you what frequencies were being stimulated the most, which I love because that has been a major issue since many of these white blasts will blast right past the bottom of this chart, which is past 40 hertz and into gamma brainwave range. So hard for us to really know exactly what we're being dosed with when the chart just physically cannot measure it, it seems like. But this one can. So 7 p.m. January 16th, we began this journey together on the planet. And then it seemed like there was, obviously you see this big wave here, and the frequencies that it hit were from 0, you can see here, I follow my cursor, top left-hand corner, all the way down to all the way down to 40 at some points, some hours, but for the most part it seems like it hung out around at 24 hertz, 28 hertz. That's where the behavior between like 28 and like 16 hertz seems to be like the maximums that were hit during that time. So, and then it proceeded. There was a little bit of a time in between the 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. that this sort of blasts were coming in, but 7 p.m. on January 17th was Mountain Standard Time, which is Universal Time -7, was when this seemed to kind of stop. And then a few more pulses since then, but again, nothing too crazy. Some pulses that are horizontal, you can see here, and some that are vertical. So horizontal talks about a specific frequency being stimulated. So that was around maybe like a 24 hertz that was going off. And then we have vertical, which is from 0 to 40 and beyond, that were also happening at that time. So we also see some weird little background information that happened today, the 18th, throughout the night, and the activity continues. It seems like there is a lot of stimulation going on, which again doesn't make a lot of sense to most of us, and I will show you why. But first I want to show you what brain waves was it that we were being stimulated in this time of the Schumann resonance, because now we can look at it. So from 0 to 4 hertz, which would be around this information from this area, the top part of the chart, is delta waves, which is talking for deep sleep, and it's good for restorative sleep to be in a delta wave. And then we went into theta waves as a part of it. That theta waves are also being activated, which is from 4 to 8 hertz, which is around these two right here. So again, very white during that time, very stimulated. This is where most of the stimulation was happening throughout the whole time, was from 0 to 8 hertz, as you can see right here, in my opinion. And so that is more of the suggestible state, and you're kind of daydreaming, you may be sleeping, you may be falling asleep, you may be feeling raw emotions and deep raw emotions. You could be going through some deep emotional times. Many of you were telling me that is indeed what was going on with you. It is also great for creativity and deep emotional connection. Well, Apollo agrees with that one. And then we went into alpha waves as well. There was from 8 to 12 alpha waves. Yep, definitely were stimulated for the most part through that whole time in the alpha wave range as well, which talks about relaxation. If you're in the right place, in the right state, you're kind of in this bridged state between being awake and kind of being not really conscious, so subconscious and conscious. And then you're just kind of, you're relaxing, you're in a good state of, you may be daydreaming again, but it's a healthy state to be in. And then we went into beta waves, which is when it goes from past 12, which is here, into up to 40 basically, which was during this time. So that was during the evening and in the nighttime of the 16th into the 17th. And then that behavior kind of ceased during the 17th. Just for your information, because that's what I'm studying. I'm studying to see how and when these pulses came in and what they stimulated in the population. And then I receive your feedback in the comments on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on my Patreon as well. Now it's getting into Twitter. The Twitter universe is talking about the Schumann resonance. I knew that day would have to come. I'm glad to be a part of the conversation. But let's look at what the amplitudes were during that time. So during the peak time, which is probably around 9 p.m. Okay, maybe more around midnight. On the 16th, the amplitude reached a 66, which you can see here as it touched the very top of this chart right here. And then it hung out in a lower range around 40 to 30-ish. It seems like that's where all the peaks kind of hung out, and it actually got pretty quiet there. So the other frequencies, so the first one is the white line, 7.83 hertz. Then we go into 14 hertz, which is the yellow line here. Or, whoops. No. Well, now you can see what search engine I use. Planting trees, always good. So 14 hangs out around here. And so let's look. During this time, what was the highest amplitude that we were reaching? And it was around a 34. So as you can see, when the frequencies or the hertz get higher, their amplitude seems to get less intense. And that's just a common pattern. Doesn't always seem to be that way. As the most recent blast, this one randomly hit a 57, while the 7.83 hertz was barely moving. So things are still going on. The 14 hertz is one that we're watching right now because it's been having the weirdest behavior. The purity of these pulses seem to actually have just increased in the last few hours. The purity of what the frequencies are delivering seem to actually be the highest right now. But wow, look at the dance that's going on here. This is beyond unusual. What all of this is going on. You don't usually see the lines overlapping each other this much, but this is the quality chart. So this talks about the purity of the vibration at that hour. So at hour 6, vibration 24 hertz hit a quality of 31, which means that it was really pure, really pure. So let's look at what was going on the chart at the 6th hour. Here we go. So this is the time, this vertical area right here is what we're talking about. So strangely enough, 24 hertz was pretty quiet, except for you can see this little line creeping in during that time. Don't know what to say. Very, very bizarre, but it was pure, very pure. They don't always correlate, the amplitude and the purity. As you can see here, when it was getting really amplified, the purity wasn't really strong. And then later now in the day, when it's quieter, the purity is shifting around. So watching this, just for all of our information, I cannot show you what the worldwide Schumann resonances were doing through the heartmath.org because HeartMath is down. It is not going to show us anything today. What about the lightning in the world? Looks like we're getting some lightning over here in the United States, and we're getting some lightning. Whoop. Oh, I'm causing things to click over here in Australia. But really, nothing too crazy. And again, I can't show you the worldwide map anyways, so just so you know, Russia doesn't seem to be getting much lightning, and that's where those charts I'm showing you are from. This is from Russia. And so the fact that there is very little lightning going on in Russia, maybe they don't even enter or share that data with the world or whatever this site is, but those things don't really correlate. The lightning is not showing me enough evidence as to why the Schumann was doing that. We have a coronal hole here, number 3, right here. It's actually showing you how it's moved across the sun over the last few days. The 14th, it was more over here. It was narrower. 16th, 17th, 18th. So during the 17th, it was very central. But yeah, this coronal hole will cause solar wind and so on to happen. But all of the solar sites seem to be saying that yes, things are very quiet. You can see these lines, pretty quiet. These lines, pretty quiet. Oh, we had a little bit of a spike in the solar wind again. This seems to be continually happening. We're seeing these very drastic spikes that are only lasting an hour maybe. That's a little weird. And still, though, below average, it only spiked to 420 and 420 kilometers per second. That's 20 kilometers per second over average, which is 400. Not a huge deal, but still the drasticness of the behavior in the chart is to be noted. There's a little something there. This is very calm, very normal looking. This is very calm. You can see it actually got so calm during the Schumann resonance input that we were getting that it could be, this is probably some of our best evidence here that what was coming in was cosmic radiation, because our magnetosphere, the protection, the invisible magnetic protection around our planet was very quiet. So it actually allows more to come in than it does when it's disturbed. Fun fact. I know I've said it a million times, but if this is your first time, hey, how are you? And welcome to the channel. I hope that what I'm saying is informative to you, and I'd love to mention in the comments if you're new. Much love to you. We are having normal-ish electron flux behavior. So again, all of this data coming in from the sun is not showing me very much evidence as to what the heck happened. This is pretty cool though. We are seeing some weird swindly lines. These are the magnetic lines being kind of dragged behind the earth. Let's see if I'm going to risk it and try and reload this page and show you. Okay, yeah, so this is still happening. So something is impacting our planet. Clearly, you see the red here. It's not always red. This is not always red. All these lines behind here, not always red. This black swirly line back here, not always red. Something is impacting our planet right now. There's energy pushing on our magnetosphere, which is weird because again, it says we're at a 0 right now, like our magnetosphere is disturbed at a 0 rate, but this is currently happening. Maybe that doesn't make sense to me either. There is a lot of incongruent information in the space weather data available online. This Mr. MB333 on his video mentioned that there was disturbance behind the planet right here. It got actually red at one point, and that could be what was sneaking in the backside to disturb the ionosphere. Possibly. That's a possible thing. So that's all the space weather stuff I have from the sun and the earth and the ionosphere. I wanted to report briefly about this article that was sent to me. Thank you. About January 11th, 2020, where the aurora was so loud that it actually rumbled the ground. It's my Schumann bot Twitter notification. If you aren't following Schumann bot, all one word, on Twitter, I would highly recommend it because they will tweet you the Schumann all day long. But yeah, the ground actually vibrated, and they compared it in the article how the Earth is riding a wave of the heliopause of the sun. So it's basically a constant wave of energy that's being flung out from the sun as we're being dragged behind the sun gravitationally. But this wave was it splashed, the splashes of the waves over our, as our planet is going and floating in this heliopause, the splashes are what cause the aurora. But the splashes can be so impactful sometimes that they actually shake the ground, which is really cool. They said it was actually cloudy that night in Norway, so they couldn't see the aurora, but they could see it because the sensors in the ground technically were being stimulated. It was so intense. Super cool. If we're going to see more of this behavior, I don't know. But that happened all the way back on the 11th. But I just wanted to share with you that this stuff is coming into public opinion, public awareness. It constantly is. And Forbes magazine, I've actually enjoyed a few articles from them this last little while. So thank you, Forbes. Ding. Gotta turn my phone off, sorry. And now let's look at the earthquakes. So worldwide earthquakes. What did I just do? Sorry, everybody. I wonder if I can move this little guy over. No, we cannot. So Puerto Rico is getting a lot of earthquakes right now. Just FYI. There's earthquakes happening in Puerto Rico. A lot of people's homes are kind of getting messed up. That's what happens with earthquakes, you know? But we're seeing earthquakes again all over the world, all over the place. And what else does earthquakes mean? Earthquakes can mean volcanic activity, which again, we've been seeing a lot of. The Philippines, sending my love to the Philippines, experienced quite an eruption. There's ash covering village, like tons of people's homes. And they're having a bit of an issue down there. So I'm sending love and awareness and consciousness to that part of the earth, to those people, those brothers and sisters, everyone being affected by the global shifts that are happening right now. You have my undying support and love, and I wish you all the best on your journey, on your path, on your growth. It was quite a life experience you chose, but you know, we're always here doing what we can to support you, just with loving thoughts and intention is at least. But on the volcanic side of things, I wanted to show you that a volcano in Antarctica, it just erupted. Apparently, last time it was active was December 8th, 2014. People don't usually talk about Antarctica, but there are volcanoes down there, and apparently one just erupted today. A lot of eruptions still going, but it looks like a little less red. Maybe things are kind of dying down a little bit, but I'll get into a little bit more about the earthquakes and the volcanoes in a second. I looked into, because it offered me to look at data about the Antarctica location. It says live webcams. So I was like, you got webcams in Antarctica following that's really cool. I want to look at your data. Data had a hard time loading. Okay, I was brought to this page, and what I saw was this little dot seems to be the volcano. It's covered in clouds. It's also covered in what looks like HARP sort of weather modifying ripples in the sky. Just thought I'd add that in there. When you see these types of ripples in the sky, a lot of the time it may have to be connected to geoengineering, which there seems to be a lot of geoengineering going on our planet, and a lot of secret government global science happening in Antarctica. So it wouldn't put it past me if they're just shooting out weather from Antarctica. But also looks like a volcano is upset about it. Very interesting. Worldwide, again, earthquake maps here. These are the seismographs of the world. A little bit of activity seems like has rumbled the planet, at least in the Caribbean. Then in China, there was a bit of activity. Then in no availability, Alaska and New Mexico, there's a little bit. In Turkey and Antarctica, here we go. There's a little bit of activity here. Nothing much though. And Oregon having some weird stuff going on. All the American ones, they don't really surprise me when they get weird, because I'm like, they're doing weird stuff underground in the States everywhere. And it seems like those people are also fighting each other. So the earthquakes can get a little suspicious. If you know what you're looking for, I'm sure there's a lot more clues in here. So Philippines, so on. So you can see that there was some worldwide movement going on. There's a little bit of disturbance on almost every one of these charts. Again, this is in Chile. Very strange activity. Don't know what that's all about. Australia. What else? Papua New Guinea. Yeah, nothing crazy like what Texas was doing in the last video. But again, I digress. There's a lot going on. The earth is shaking, moving, shifting. The ionosphere is doing it. The deep underground is doing it. The tectonic plates are doing it. And the sun just seems to be chilling. I don't know what's causing all of this movement, honestly. Something else is happening, and I would like to know. So it'd make more sense with further study, really. So let's talk about the astrology, about what's going to happen in the next little while. I had something pulled up. Maybe if I stretch it, you'll be able to see again on the side here. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, it's again. Or no, you can't. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry, I'm doing like editing while I'm filming. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make this look as beautiful as possible, because that's just my aesthetic. I have a lot of Libra in my chart. So let's talk about the astrology right now. Today's the 7th. Today's the 18th. The Pallas enters Capricorn. Don't know what that means, and I don't think it's a huge deal, but we are moving into Aquarius in a few days on the 20th. The sun is moving into Aquarius. Happy early birthday to all you Aquariuses. Happy birthday to all of you Capricorns who just had your birthdays. We're moving into Aquarius. Then we have a new moon on the 24th. That seems to be the most substantial stuff. There was a little bit more that I maybe just want to manually read to you because it's hiding on the side screen here. It's hard to see, but it's talking about how the moon is spending the day in Scorpio today. It's harmonizing with Neptune and Mercury, and it forms a parallel to Saturn. We may be craving a little extra drama, glamour, or meaning. We seek a stronger emotional connection to the world around us or a particular project or person. However, we're ready to jump in and tackle problems. We are both intuitive and resourceful today, and we prefer to cut to the chase or see the bottom line of a matter. Conversations and thoughts can take a serious note today, according to cafeastrology.com. That's your astrology, giving us a little bit of a hint. I don't really see a lot of major astrological things that were going on during the Schumann again, so it's kind of hard to see. I mentioned in the last video that the Trump impeachment was going on. I just looked it up today because I thought maybe they would have had more things. No, like I barely heard about it this morning. I was like, okay, what's going on with the impeachment? Looks like that they picked all of their lawyers and they're about to go into battle, basically. So that is kind of on... It's still in the process. It's still being birthed. What else in the world was going on? Seems like there is a new virus that they're telling people to be afraid of, and they're screening people for in Japan. Viruses are like one of the easiest, in my opinion, to understand that can be genetically modified to attack people. And you know, you can make a virus do whatever you want in a lab, and viruses have been a problem for a very long time. I think it's an old science. It's basically how to call your what's the word I'm looking for? Your herd from certain genetic things. So people with this genetics, the thing is going to get sick and die, but people without it, they're going to be okay. Simplestly, the most simple example of that. Prince Harry and Meghan are giving up their royal titles because they're like, hey, the royals don't want to be associated with those people anymore. The North Korean foreign minister has been replaced by a person. That's interesting. You know, their foreign minister, the person is going to be dealing with foreign countries, has been replaced and appointed, and they will definitely be making different choices than the last person, very likely. And that's kind of the highlights I've seen. One thing I wanted to mention for those of us in the space weather and earth weather community, earthquakes and so on, the YouTube account Dutch Sense, who did a fantastic job in predicting earthquakes, has been taken off of YouTube in a weird way. Their channel's still here, but their content is gone. And I don't think anyone really knows what this person is, and I think it's been a few days, which is weird because when the volcanoes and everything was going off the first time, I was like, where is this guy? Because I knew his channel. I'm already subscribed. You can see I've been watching him very lightly, and I kind of like his style and his graphics, but a lot of it kind of goes over my head sometimes because I move like this. This person is missing. So again, I send all the love and protection to this person who is hopefully in alignment with the light and bringing truth to humanity. If this person is being removed, as they had a huge subscriber base, almost 400,000 people, that means that there's likely some weird earthquake stuff going on, and maybe they didn't want him publicly reporting it. So that's a theory. It's a possibility. And I'd like to finish off today's video like I do sometimes with a card reading about today's energy. And also, okay, I love you guys, and I really hope that Dutch Sense is okay. I wanted you to know, if you know where he is, if you're his friend, hopefully he's all right. Put in the comments if you know he's all right. I wish him all the best. And if he just wanted to take a break, it's cool too. You know, you're allowed to just be like, I don't want to do this anymore, and just leave. That's also a scenario that's possible, but I don't think it's that likely because this person was so dedicated, but I don't know. I don't know them. So I wish them all the best and safety and thriving and happiness and love. Love is the answer. Just give them all the love that they need during this time. Okay, now we're going to do a card reading for everybody. Dear source, may I please do a reading for the mind, body, spirit complex of Gaia, of planet Earth? What is it that she was experiencing during that Schumann blast that I brought up today, during those energies? Because it doesn't seem like the sun has much of a input. And here we go. Here's an answer. It just flew right out. These two cards. So let's talk about it. First one is renewal. Archangel Jamuel. If you are following Jeremiah, oh my gosh, I butchered that. Pardon me. Review and evaluate, this card says. A favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a new direction. Very interesting answer. And then we have the Eight of Air, which is next. And it says, an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. So these are major energies about what's possibly going on. This is, again, talking about the perspective of planet Earth. So planet Earth is going through a review and an evaluation. She's having a favorable assessment, and she's moving in a new direction. And then she may be having an illusion, or we as her are having an illusion of being trapped, and we're having a lack of self-confidence and afraid to take actions. So hopefully this energy was able to boost you in the direction of taking actions and being confident and favorable assessments of all the facts. So that is all I have to bring to you today. Jason and I are going to be recording another episode of the podcast, the Divine Sovereign Beings podcast tonight. I'm very excited to pick it up where we left off and enjoy another great conversation. We brought a lot more data in to talk about, more like news stories and so on. So we're excited. So just subscribe to this channel because that's where I'm uploading these. And I will be seeing you all again very soon. Thank you all for your support. I'm opening up again new slots and open space to take more emailed tarot readings. So if you'd like me to do a tarot reading for you and type it all up and take a picture and email it to you, right now is a great time because I have openings. So you can book that on alexisbuck.com. That link will be in the description. And if you'd like to contact me for any reason, you can contact me at ascensiondiaries@gmail.com. All my social media links, again, are on my website, alexisbuck.com. They should all be there in the upper bar, bookmark bar, whatever it's called. And you should be able to find me. So until next time, do good and be good. And I will be back very soon. Goodbye, everyone.